board. Roll call, please, ma'am.
Kosowitz.
Present.
Ryan.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Korth. And Decker.
Here.
All right, next on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Has everyone had a chance to look at the agenda?
Yeah.
Do we have any questions or changes?
I'm all good.
Not right now. I'm good.
Okay. Do I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve today's agenda.
Second? Anybody?
I will.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next on the agenda is approval of minutes. The date there is incorrect. We are approving the minutes from March 28th, 2024. Has everyone had a chance to look at those? Do we have any changes?
I would motion to approve the minutes from the March 28th meeting of the Lodging Tax Advisory Board.
Do I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Awesome. Old business, right into Miss Lindsay, our updates from Destination IQ. Good morning.
Hello everyone, how are you?
Great, thanks.
I'm going to share my screen.
I have a question while you're doing that. Have y'all completely changed names?
You talking about destination?
We are now officially Destination IQ, that's correct.
I like that name.
So,
Of course, we hired different firms.
well, thank you. When you hired us, we were just about to launch the new brand, but we've been working on it for a while, so. Can everyone see my screen okay? Do you see a data overview slide?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. As you can see, we are now starting to gather a lot of data. A general data report is an overview of everything or all traffic sources to your website. The social media data report is your organic social media report in detail. Google ads are your paid Google ads, and your meta ads are your Facebook and your Instagram ads. I'm going to, again, send this deck out to the group, so anyone who really wants to dive into data will have links to all of these reports. I could spend an hour just looking at this data alone in detail, and I'm not going to do that all here, so I'll give you overviews and highlights, but of course this is all accessible. But let me show you what this looks like currently. So just as a reminder, we started tracking data at the very end of February. So really we started this at the beginning of March. And then the individual programs, the organic social, the meta ads, and the Google ads started sometime in March because there was an onboarding period. But just to show you what some of these reports look like, this is the very high overview where you can go through each traffic source and see what Google Analytics is pulling in. Now, you're seeing this insane jump in traffic. I'm sure you're looking and you're like, oh my gosh, we're up 15,000% compared to February. A couple reasons for that. One is we weren't tracking data in February, so we're comparing it to nothing. So I would assume to see a big number. The other thing I want to bring up is that you'll see here this referral number is very high. It's at 3,000. We saw in March across every one of our clients receive a very high number of referrals from bot websites, so not real websites. We have since blocked those. We blocked those the end of March. So we're going to see that number drop significantly in April, and so we'll probably see a drop in overall traffic. But when we break it down and look at the individual sources, we'll likely see a leap in most all of those sources, save for the referrals. So just something to keep in mind. It happened across the board. It happened on different servers. it was the same website. It was very strange. In all the years that I've been in marketing, I've actually never seen this, but we blocked it, we took care of it. And I'm glad that we took care of it now at the beginning of our data collection, so it doesn't skew too much year to year. Your Meta Ads team, which is your paid ads team, every month gives us a full written overview of what they're doing, what they're looking at, what they're seeing. What I really like about this, one, it increases the transparency and it opens communication. It also tells me that they're paying attention to what they're doing and they're being really thoughtful. So, and what I'll do moving forward is highlight some of the really neat things. So, for example, in March, your click-through rate is, for Meta Ads, was at 6.4%, and your cost per click was about 6 cents. Tourism or travel ads typically perform better than other industries, but what our Meta Ads manager was saying, that even with just the first month of your ads, those statistics are better than all his other tourism clients. And we started with these ads here, just some static images from your media library. We are in the process of starting to collect new photography and footage. So we're going to have videos. So we're going to really broaden what these ads can do. So if we're already starting at this 6% mark, we can only go up from here. So I'm really excited about that. And likewise, our Google Ads team will do the same thing. They'll send a report of what they're doing, what they're looking at, some takeaways. So here's a good example. Last time we met, we talked about excluding Trinidad from geo-targeting and including Texas. So I relayed that information to the team, and then in the report, they'll say, okay, it's done, we did it. And this campaign's great. It's at a 20% click-through rate. Average for travel is about 4.6%. You are bidding on Trinidad terms. I think at some point we're going to start shifting away from bidding on Trinidad terms because your website shows up organically for that and performs very well there as well. And we'll start broadening it, which will drop the click-through rate down. But then we're reaching folks that may not know they want to go to Trinidad until it pops up for great hikes in Colorado, or really neat places to camp, or great creative districts in Colorado. So there's a lot of play that we can do here. But what I want to do in the start is show Google that this is a great resource for folks that want to learn more about Trinidad, because that also brings you up in the organic search results. So this is a strategy we'll start with, and we're just going to go out with a bang. What else do I want to show you in this? And then, here it is. Your organic social team provides a report like the following, where it will go through all the individual statistics for both Facebook and Instagram. It will show month change. So we saw some great changes in Facebook this month. I think a lot of it was the post that Marty posted, because this team had some onboarding period. They're up and running now, but you'll see the engagement is up over 500% in March compared to February. And then we'll go down, gives you our demographics. It will show you your top posts. And then it will do the same for Instagram. And just a heads up, we are currently having access issues with Instagram. The social media team and Marty have worked tirelessly to try to get into the account. And we're leaning towards starting a new account at this time where we really have control over it from the beginning. So you're not going to see a lot of activity on Instagram currently. We have a lot of content that we're ready to hit go with, and that's another reason we don't want to spend any more time trying to get this figured out, because it could take weeks or even months to really try to access this previous account. So that's the type of stuff that you'll have access to here, all of those individual data reports. But I'll always put some highlights here if you're just want to see what's going on, quick perusal. So from this month, some highlights that I thought were really fantastic. You had 1,300 users coming from organic search results, and those are search results we don't pay for. Those are people that are searching for something where your website shows up in just the regular results, and they're clicking on you and they're exploring your website. So that's excellent. Your Google Ads started off with a click-through rate of almost 20%, which I mentioned. Your organic Facebook pages posts, netted over 4,500 total engagement, which is a wonderful number. That's fantastic. And then your meta ads click-through rate and cost per click are just really in a great spot. Like I said, we're just scraping the bottom of the barrel of those right now. We've got so much new content coming in and ideas that we're going to just go off. I'm so excited. And then I'll always put a little insights, like if I see something funny going on with the data, I'll explain what's happening. So the bot referral traffic information I put there. If there's a request that the lodging board made and we enacted it, I'll make sure you know that we did that. So we excluded Trinidad and included Texas in our Google ad geotargeting. And then if we have new plans for the future, I'll put that there as well. So one tactic we're going to instate soon is we are going to create a Facebook. I'm sorry, my dog is really barking in the background. Can you all hear it?
We can, but
is she being just...
It's all good.
Okay.
You can keep cranking.
I have my... Okay. I'm sorry. I felt weird just ignoring it. So we have we have events that we want to promote on paid Facebook and Instagram, and what we found is the most effective way to do that, to maximize budget, is we create one ad, and it's a carousel ad, and it's the event ad, and it will always run, and you can swipe through it to see the events that are planned for the future, within a 6-week range in Trinidad. So each event will have its own slide with an image and some copy and a link to learn more, and it will go to the event listing page on the website. But rather than having individual ads for all the events, that eats up the budget, that takes away from other opportunities. This way, we can anyone that requests support, we can say yes, like we will include you in this campaign, in addition to other things. But that will be our next meta ad that we're going to get up and running, because we now have events organized. So that's in the queue as well. What else do we want to go over? I have some lists up there. Okay. This I just put on this slide. These are high-level overviews from your organic social media team, images of your meta ads for quick friends. And then I go into some of the tasks that we're working on currently. We have a lot in your pipeline right now. It's really fun and exciting, and we're starting to see some of those wrap up, so we're getting our deliverables. Just some overview of some items. We have on-the-ground content creators ready to go for social media. So Dave Corian was recommended by the group. His contract is signed, and I believe he's going to start gathering content for us this week for use on social. We have another woman who's local who's interested as well, and we're talking to her. We have budget to get them both up and running. For at least the first month, and see what they do, see who likes doing the work, see who really turns around and communicates and gets us what we need. So it's a really neat position that we can kind of try 2 different people, and if they're both great, maybe we can use our budget and we can work with both of them, and it's nice to have two seemingly great options. So that's moving forward. We have received our first few event marketing requests via the website, and that's fantastic. And everyone who has submitted has given us so much information. It's incredible. Like, I don't ever get that much information. It's very exciting from our side. And we've got to start our process. You know, we replied to them and said, this is what we're going to do for you. And I've included an example here. We can put you on our event calendar. We can put you on the Colorado.com calendar. We'll get you an organic social post. We'll get you in that carousel ad that I just mentioned. This particular Trinidad Art Fest event is coming in enough time that we can include them in our KCRT radio ad, which we write every month. We have that contract through the end of June. So anything that happens before that time, we can throw in those ads as well. So the process is down. It works splendidly. I've got my Kirsten on our side. She really manages the flow of these. She'll reply to the events, contact. She'll let us know what the plan is, and then she'll get it moving and make sure everything is in the right place. So that worked out great. We have. It's almost done. New Lazy Crazy Days of Summer campaign landing page on the website, and it looks fantastic. I'm really excited to share it once it's 100% complete. And once that's done, that's going to be a campaign that we promote on Meta as well. And we're moving ahead on building out a photo contest page. Marty's collecting photos for use in potentially a calendar or postcards or other sort of promotional material for Trinidad. What else do we have? Lots of good stuff. Video, we have photo shoots and video shoots scheduled. I think I talked about this last time. And finally, next week, Brian and I are going to be in town. For our immersion trip, we're coming down to visit the city and hopefully to meet all of you in person. Marty might have reached out individually. Unfortunately, we're going to miss the lodging tax board meeting because it's an off week. But fingers crossed, I get to meet as many of you as possible in person. It would be lovely. So that's my wrap. It's a lot of information. I feel like I talked so much and don't give anybody an opportunity to ask questions. So please, if you have a question, let me know.
Yeah, I would just encourage everyone to review that deck. Also, dig in on your own time. I do include links to it in the minutes here and there. If you lost the link somewhere, check the minutes. So you can really start poking at the stats, see how those trends are going over time. Yeah, great to see that traction, Lindsay. Thanks.
Yeah, I love the idea. If you could keep a link to this in the meeting, in the minutes, the link will always be the same because I just add slides to the same deck. And this way too, at the end of the year, we have a record of everything we've done for the whole year. So if you have to report to a higher board or whoever it might be, maybe the buck stops here, I don't know, but if ever you're like, I need a wrap for the year, every single thing that we're doing is included in this deck. It's as much for my organization as it is for you. It's, so.
Yeah, when you guys are going out to council, tons of good stuff to grab out of that deck. And if you're ever curious, like what a key metric would be, I can provide some input on that just to be like, yeah, look for X, Y, Z and present that. So.
Awesome, thank you. Questions?
I do have one. We want to talk about the facelift and the ADA compliance.
Yes, on the website.
I forgot about that. I almost forgot about it yesterday too. I think it was because it was my last slide. So Marty had asked me a couple of things. Well, let me step back for a moment. The last tourism board meeting, you had asked about giving the website a facelift, if you will. So I worked with my developer who I've assigned to work on Trinidad specifically. She's the one that developed this Lazy Crazy Days of Summer website. She'll develop the digital itineraries. So she's already in there and kind of playing around with the design. I have an idea of cost to do a facelift, and I can show you, let me share my screen again, kind of roughly what that overview would be. All the types of tasks that she had written out. Here it is. So she looked at navigation, the home page, all the pages together, the blog, and just did kind of an overall list. You'll see, you know, it's obviously all design related. And I'll give folks a chance to read through this in detail while I talk about the other portion of this project. So at the same time, Marty had asked us about ADA compliance and making sure that the website was ADA compliant. Even if we win a grant to do a new website, we likely won't have it until the fall, let's say, of next year. So there is some time between now and then, and that's assuming you get the grant. And we can certainly do ADA compliance. We would just need to be, we need to put together a more specific bid for that. The reason I bring both of these up is that there's some overlap in ADA compliance and the facelift, and so it's smart to do them together. So while there's a lot of back-end SEO and metadata work that you can do for ADA compliance, another side of ADA compliance is making sure that it's a website can be visually absorbed easily. So that's making sure the font is large enough and then the color of the font contrasts enough with the background, that there's enough space. So we could have Caitlin, who is the developer, if she does a facelift, she'll incorporate ADA compliant techniques in with that Facebook on the design side. So like I said, there is some overlap, while we'll have our technical director get in and do the back-end work for the ADA compliance. We estimate that this full project is going to be in the 10K range to do both the facelift and the ADA compliance. If you were to do it separately, it would be more, because again, we're looking at the overlap.
Hey, Lindsay.
Marty did just tell me yesterday that you do have a plugin on your website that does reviews ADA compliance. We had suggested that she include one, and she said, I got one. So we are going to use that plugin and really get a good assessment of what we need to do on the back end to make your site totally ADA compliant, so we can make a more accurate estimate. But we are thinking that it's in that 10K range, give or take, 1,000 or so. So,
Hey, Lindsay.
Lindsay,
do you have that page available where that is on there without the plug-in? I saw it in the deck earlier this morning. There's a page that talks about the plug-in and the cost of $10,000.
Right here.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
So we had first recommended this plugin. This is a newer one. It has a lot of functionality, but we'll look at the one that's currently on the website, because if it's giving you what we need, then let's use the one you have, right? I'm not about spending money that you don't need to spend. But we have some examples of what an ADA plugin could look for. Images missing all attributes. That means every image on the back end, you give it a description and a name, so that if somebody, maybe they're visually impaired, they can scroll over the image and their machine might read to them what the image is. So that's what an alt image could do. It's also good SEO practice as well to have all your images labeled, because it gives more content for Google to grab. So if someone is looking for a car show, and we have images of the car show and it's tagged appropriately, Google will read that as copy, and it will raise you up in those organic search results. So if someone's like, I want to go to a car show in Colorado, if we have some images that are tagged Trinidad, Colorado car show, that again, like, it makes you more relevant. We have to look at image size. I mean, there's a whole host of things. And so ideally we go and explore the plugin that you have, and it's extensive and it gives us enough to grab hold of. I imagine that I know that you had an ADA compliance issue in recent years, and I don't know what was done with the current website to address that. So maybe there's a lot to do, maybe there isn't. We just haven't fully assessed it yet. So.
Cool. Any other questions?
No, I had two quick notes, which I don't know if they need to come here or not, but they were both mentioned. One, with the website 10K, I mean, we'll have to discuss that obviously, but if we're looking at waiting until next, like fall 25, to make any other website improvements, I say we need to identify a source for that funding and get this done. That should be super high priority. We're pushing way more traffic to that site, and it absolutely needs a little bit of a spit shine for sure. So yeah, I would be in favor of that. The other thing I just wanted to touch on really quick was I've heard some feedback from business owners on the Lazy Crazy Days campaign, just that they felt unaware of it, and that they'd like to see us just put some effort into collaborating on that front. So just something to think about as we pursue future marketing efforts. How do we engage, Main and Commercial Street folks or beyond that, and bring them in on our campaign planning, or at least make sure they're aware of what we're rolling out before it's happening. So we obviously don't have to bend over backwards to accommodate whatever they think is right in terms of what we're promoting. But some type of process where we engage them, I think would be wise, so they at least know what's coming down the pipe and have a chance to put in their 2 cents.
Anything else? Jason?
I'll just second Joe's note that, we need to get this website happen. So we need to figure out a way that we can't wait another several years. It's like 10 years outdated. So let's figure that out. So maybe we'll put it on the next agenda.
I have a note to put it on the next agenda on my page.
And I should have a more accurate bid by your next meeting. So, and just to keep in mind that 10K also includes, we'll put the ADA compliance in that project as well. So it will be the facelift plus the ADA compliance. And it's the ADA compliance part is the reason we don't have a definitive estimate quite yet, because we need to do a little bit more research. But I can't wait for you to see what this new designer can do. She's so good. I love working with her. She's already done some great work on some parts of your website that aren't mine yet, but you'll see it.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Are we ready to move on?
Sounds
Because the
good.
next one I think is may involve Lindsay. It's the next line item is discussion of application for the CTO marketing grant.
I'm sorry, was that a question for me?
Well, no, it was just my next line item is a discussion of the application for the CTO marketing grant. Do we have any updates on that? Is that something that is on your radar?
Yeah, I can answer that. So that's definitely on our radar. So currently the plan is to apply for a new website build, which would be from scratch, really bring it's an extensive website rather than building on what we have. The grants are not guaranteed. They do not award grants to everyone. So I think Jason made a really good point. I think it was Jason, forgive me, that we should work on this current website because there's no guarantee we'll get the funds to build a new one.
Well,
Now, if we do get the funds to build it,
I don't disagree with working on what we have for the time being. I just want to make sure that we're going to move forward with the grant to do the whole new website.
yes, thumbs up. The grant's not due until August, September, so we have a little time.
Alright, that's our update. Great.
Cool.
Next is the kiosk update. I don't know if that has Lindsay involved or not now.
It doesn't, because I haven't engaged DIQ in the kiosk yet, but that's a plan to go forward so that they can start taking that over and maybe finding somebody that can post the posters on a regular basis. I did have a meeting with SUFA on Tuesday, and we discussed adding a carousel for the posters so that one isn't static. So what I'm doing right now is I add one static poster for an upcoming event that is provided to me, and then I have to take that down when that's over and put another one up. So if I add a carousel, kind of like what Lindsay's talking about, then I can put multiple posters on there and then just take off the one that's over with and then maybe add a new one so that there's always an ongoing poster or multiple posters. My issue right now with the kiosk is even though I have invited the community organizations to provide me with event posters, they have to be formatted in a particular format. They have to be 10 by 80 by 10 by 80. They have to be in a grayscale, and then they just have to send them to me. And I can actually resize those photos and I can make them grayscale if they'll just send me the posters. So I've talked to Karen Jo Agnello, who attends the network council meetings regularly, and she has the calendar of events. I don't know what it's called. There's a regular calendar of events that she puts together that is just fantastic. She does a great research job of getting all the events that are going on. KJ Agnello, Voice of Trinidad. Yeah. So at the next meeting, I'm going to ask her if they will just send their event posters to me, and then I can, or if I have DIQ helping me out with it, we can resize those photos and reformat them so we can get them up on that carousel. As far as, I know you wanted some analytics from those, the only thing that analytics that it shows is foot traffic. Doesn't give us any information on where they come from, where they're headed, age, just nothing, no demographics on them at all. All it does is give us a count of foot traffic, and it gives us foot traffic for each of those kiosks here on Main Street and here on, and again on Commercial. And I couldn't figure out a way to download that information to send it to you, but I will figure that out.
You can always just grab a screenshot from whatever you're looking
And
at.
I did.
Yeah.
I did get a screenshot, and I will send it to you as soon as this meeting's over. So yeah, I did. That was the only thing I could figure was, okay, I'll get a screenshot.
Oh, that works.
Yeah, okay, so, but just so you know, that's the only information we get from those kiosks is how much foot traffic is going by those locations.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
It's something.
And the time of day, and, does it go up on the weekends? Does it go down? If there's an event going on, how high is it? Things like that. And it's usually per hour. So I looked back at a few months to see what the changes were. I pulled up the Radfest, for example. We had 180 people going by those kiosks per hour during that event. On a regular business day when there's nothing going on, we have maybe 45 on Commercial Street and up to maybe 75 on the one on Main Street. So I did talk to her about what the possibilities were of relocating those kiosks and turning them around as well. The issue seems to be that the solar charger that's on top of the kiosk has to be directional, certain direction for it to catch enough sunlight to recharge those because they're solar powered. So the location is dependent upon being able to charge those. That's why I can't move it to this side of the street. On a shady side of the street where there's a lot of buildings, it has to be on a sunny side of the street. So we might look at, and there's no costs involved in moving those because we can do that in-house. It's 4 bolts in the ground, basically, and then it has to have a concrete footer on it. So we can move those if sometime you guys say, you know, I don't like that location, maybe a better location would be, you know, such and such. So there's an option as well to move those kiosks. And that's the update I have.
Thanks.
Any questions for Marty?
I was just
Those numbers, Marty, was that they're walking by it or they were actually using the kiosk?
No, so it's not interactive. So those kiosks are not interactive. It will display, and I can control the back end at what the display is, but they're not an interactive kiosk, so there's no engagement with the kiosk itself. So it doesn't track anything. All it tracks is anybody that happens to be walking by, and I'm guessing it's picking up some type of cell signal from a phone.
Like Google does when they track traffic and stuff. They
Right.
Just go by how many phones are in the
Right.
area.
That's all they're doing is tracking the foot traffic.
Okay.
Well, I have an idea. If you can control the content that is being shown on these kiosks, if it's like a rotating poster for different events or activities, you could put a QR code to learn more that goes to the website, and you could tag that code so that you can know that traffic is coming from the kiosk. And then at least you're providing a call to action and another step that folks can take that you can also track.
Great idea. So that being said, Lindsay, I will be talking to you at our next meeting about maybe getting some help on the back end of those kiosks. And right now they're connected. There's 4 different widgets on there. There's the poster widget where I can post event posters. There is a weather widget. There's a Facebook widget, and then there's our calendar of events widget. So those connect to our Facebook events page, our calendar page, and it connects to our Facebook page. So anything that's displayed on those kiosks is connected to those 2, and so it updates regularly. But the static piece is the event posters.
Why don't you add this to our work time agenda when we're in town?
Okay,
We'll look at it in person together.
gotcha.
Sounds good.
All right, anything else on the kiosks? No? I think we're good to move on. I'm looking.
You wanna let her go?
I don't know if Lindsay needs to stay.
Lindsay, you can probably drop.
Yeah, I know you were wanting to get out a little early of these things, so.
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate you spending my time. I love meeting with you. And again, I hope to see with you or not all maybe next week.
Sounds good.
See you
Thank
next week.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Next item is reserve fund balance and usage. I think we brought this over from last time per request.
Yeah, I don't have anything specific here. Just trying to keep it on top of mind to see if we can get some stuff moving forward. So, I mean, the one specific that I wanted to push on is the trail stuff, but we won't have firm numbers on that until we get this whole planning process done. This would be the wormhole project specifically, and that is happening in like May to June, so a little bit of time on that.
Well, maybe Marty remembers, but I don't know if you know the answer, Marty. I know when we first started talking about quality of life and everything, we met with Dawn Richardson, and she wanted some funding for the trail connection behind here down to a section of that trail. And Steve at the time had said that could come out of the reserve fund for quality of life, maybe. their Trail Alliance, since that never happened, would we be able to do that with the reserve fund balance? Or would that have to come out of some other line item?
It would have to come out of the recreational line item, yes.
Yeah.
That's, when they talked about quality of life, there wasn't a specific bucket for quality of life projects. There was a recreational fund, and then there was, what was the other one?
There's arts and cultural
Arts and
events,
culture, that was the other one.
and
Facilities and programming?
parks and
Parks and
recreational
recreation.
facilities
Okay.
and programming.
But can we do the same thing with it and transfer out of that reserve fund into the recreation if we wanted to?
Probably not. Reserve fund, as Steve was explaining the last meeting that we were in, reserve fund is been earmarked for capital improvements, or capital projects. I did have a conversation with Steve about moving reserve funds into the festival line item because it's expended. I wasn't aware of that until I pulled up our report, and we'll go into that with your last agenda item on C.
Actually, if anybody doesn't have an objection, can we just merge this into
Sure.
this line item?
Yeah.
So since we're talking about it, let's just talk about it?
Yeah, I think that's appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so what I found when I went into the general ledger and accounts to look at festival funding, what I discovered was that we had an original, a beginning balance of $50,000. The tourism board approved 3 different funding requests, $2,500 to Triggers, $5,000 to Mitchell, $5,000 to Main Street Live, and that's before we approved the $10,000 for the outdoor expo and the rodeo. So I had already had a show of $35,000 that was encumbered for those requests, and I thought we had a current balance. So I went in to look at the general ledger to find out what the balance was, to make sure we had a number so that when we were making our ask to transfer those reserve funds over into festival funding, then I would have a good idea of how much we needed going forward. Well, what I discovered was that there were additional funds that were encumbered for festival funding, and it was $52,000 for Tourism Santa Fe Trail Festival rides, which exceeds the original amount that we had to begin with, and that the Winterfest light show was also taken out of that fund for $11,600. So above and beyond what we've already spent out of the festival funding, there was that $52,000 and $11,000 for a total of $64,000. So, that being said,
We need to transfer just.
we need to transfer money back from reserve funds into there, just so we can accommodate any other funding requests that we get for festivals.
Yeah,
What's
we
the
got
deal
2
with the
on that.
Santa Fe Trail Rights acquisition?
I remember discussing a carnival thing.
Well, it sounds like this is to basically, the city basically purchasing that from the previous administrators of the events.
Yeah.
I know that had kind of come up in discussion with Steve.
I can show you that if you
Oh,
want.
I
okay.
don't think it was something that went through the board though, so.
No, I'm pretty sure.
I do appreciate you doing
It's okay.
due diligence on the budgeting. Obviously, we need to keep better eyeballs on that. But that is a little bit frustrating for that to just be like the whole budget. Because I don't think we ever straight up had just gave a green light for anything Santa Fe Trail related yet, unless I'm mistaken on that.
I'm assuming that they did that on their own power.
Which is fine. We just absolutely need to be kept in the loop.
So, that being said,
What would we?
I will have a conversation with Steve and Cheryl to find out how much we need to move from reserves into festival funding to cover any funding requests that we have going forward. So that's a conversation that's slated for Monday morning.
So, what are the odds? Like, they're gonna have to.
Oh, yeah,
They're
no,
gonna
I
have
don't see a problem with
But,
it.
like-
It just has to be a request that we make, a formal request that we make.
Do you have an idea? Oh, no, they're gonna y'all gonna get together about how much?
Yes,
Okay.
so that we can
Did we,
approve.
did we wind up funding the stuff from the theater and from the?
Yes.
From
Mitchell?
the Mitchell and the 420?
Yeah, it's on
That we
there.
all approved?
Yeah.
That's on there?
Yeah. All of that's included in there so far.
It's all included.
The only issue we have moving forward is we didn't realize that some of that money had already been taken out, so we're down, we're in the negative in that line item.
Yep.
And so we don't have any more funding for JC's requests or Carlos' requests or any requests that come in the future. So what she's gonna do is work with the team on Monday, see if and how much, well, we gotta get some.
Yeah,
How
we
much
will
we're
get
gonna
some.
have to move forward.
So make up that difference and then plus.
And then have,
reduction in the
and then
future.
have establish a balance again that we could use for future funding requests for the rest of the
Do you
year.
feel like that will happen before our next meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
This is our first year under the new ordinance. I think it's worth just keeping a pulse on all of these different buckets to see if they need to be adjusted moving forward. We get a ton of requests specifically on the events and arts and culture side of things. So this immediately seems like one that we might need a little more money allocated.
Right.
So just something to keep in mind. I also would say it's a good lesson for us. I mean, we need to be looking hard at these things, and I mean, you're gonna have to be cutthroat. I know Jason and myself were both opposed to the funding we allocated in the previous meeting. This is part of the reason why. It's like we can't just greenlight everything. We have to be a little bit
More
picky and
diligent.
choosy. Yeah.
So that being said, the Trinidad Art Fest will come out of the arts and culture bucket, not out of festival funding.
Okay. And we have in that bucket some available funding.
Mm-hmm.
Remind me what the rides, what event is that?
It was Santa Fe Trail Days.
Santa
We
Fe
bought
Trail
Santa
Days.
Fe Trail Days from the company that had before.
Oh.
Just so they can have the Santa Fe Trail Days. That was owned by someone, I guess.
Oh.
That was a Chamber of Commerce event.
So we pay the
previously.
chamber?
No. The Chamber's not doing it. This is a city event.
No, but he's wondering where did the 52 go? Like, what was that payment for?
Specifically the
Yes.
Airbound for
Oh, okay.
water slide, a gyroscope ride,
I was
a
confused.
pedal ride, a mechanical
that's-
bowl.
But that's only 24 something, the rides.
It looks like
It's
20
52 and they pay half in advance and half on delivery.
Gotcha. So
And
that's
they being the city.
The city will pay Airbound $52,000 total for these rides for the Santa Fe Trail Festival.
Yeah, so we're bringing in rides. Okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I kind of remember something.
Yeah. Sounds cool.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so
there's that one.
we'll figure out more next meeting. We should have more an idea of what we're gonna have to work with. I know the Arts and Art Fest funding request comes out of a different bucket line. What about the other one? Which fly fishing?
That'd have to come out of the festival. So is Carlos here to do fly fishing? Is he here to do Art Fest?
JC's for Art Fest.
Is JC here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
JC's
shall I bring
out
him in?
there. Yeah, they can come in.
Is-
JC, you can come in. Hi.
I mean, they can all come. It's a
Or you
public
can all
meeting.
come, actually.
Yeah, everybody can come in.
Sorry. Not in paradise.
Stand against the wall, raise your hands.
What's up? Let us bring you work.
Thank you.
I can also send a digital copy. Do you want a digital copy, Jason?
Sure.
Hey guys.
What's
How
up?
you doing? Thank you.
Thank you.
Here's a couple extra.
I'll need one for the file.
Yeah.
I've got one for the files. I'll just want to look at one. Oh, you need this? You need this one?
We're here just to say hello.
We heard there was free food.
I've got chocolate.
We've been saying it's lunchtime. You
So-
know a good restaurant that would?
Yeah, I could probably recommend one or two.
So just as a reminder, before we dig into these, the process for future grant applications is they go through me. So you request an application, so this is actually an outdated application. So if you would have requested one, I would have given you an updated
I
one.
got one from Miss Ashley.
Okay. And that grant application is submitted to staff. And then staff puts it on the agenda for the Lodging Tax Advisory Board to review. And then we will schedule you to be in attendance at a meeting because you are actually not even on the agenda. So to follow the agenda process, if you will just follow that process, then you can be on the agenda specifically.
Noted.
Thank you.
JC.
How's it going?
Good. Ashley.
Ashley, nice to meet you. I think we met before.
Briefly.
Yeah, so we're here requesting some funding for the third annual Trinidad Art Fest. We did our first 2 years at Citrus Blandina Gardens, and we have outgrown that this upcoming year, so we have a proposal for you guys to look at for the festival to be right out here on Main Street. So this is my first time doing anything like this, so it's not really my forte. So if you have questions as we go, just let me know. But you have the proposal in front of you. We have our strategic plan. Do we need to read all this to you, or is it something you can do on
We'll
your
go
own?
over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably won't do any voting until next time.
Okay.
And look at it between now and then.
Okay, great. We've got our situational review analysis, all our strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats listed on this page for you. We think we're pretty well organized this year. It keeps getting better and better as the years go. You get a few pages into it. There is a breakdown of how we would use the funding that we got from you guys. We got about $6,000 for advertising, $4,000 for festival expenses, and we're trying to increase our music budget for the year to $5,000. Trinidad Art Fest is the only festival in Trinidad right now that focuses on music and focuses on arts. Of the 4 that are down here, the other 3 festivals are Chili Fest, Rad Fest, and
the Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo Fest that are coming up. But as far as we know, this is the only one that's really focusing on the arts and focusing on any kind of music at all. And we like to see it continue to grow, so we're hoping you guys can support that. Go a little bit further down, there's a little bit of a breakdown here about what some other places are doing in Colorado that are comparable in size to Trinidad, and you can compare those and take your own notes. The next page on there, we have a festival map about how we would like to see this festival laid out on Main Street. We plan on blocking off Main Street from Commercial down to Animas. We'll have anywhere between 35 and 40 artist booths on Main Street this year. Main Street Live has opted to join in and do what we're calling the Kids Corner to give the children something to do during the festival. We have a stage at the end of the street towards Animas. We have music and entertainment booked and ready to roll. And then we'll put a smaller stage right around where the bird cage is. So the music will never stop. When one starts, the other one stops, and then we'll keep the music going through the full 2 days.
And we have already cleared our festival plan with Fire Chief, Mr. Baccarat. We wanted to make sure that our plan was cleared before submission of the street closure application. As you notice, we do have the booths going down the center of the street, which has been a big ask from our business community. And we are actively working with our business community to set up a festival that pleases them, pleases the artists, and pleases the community.
Because in the past, we had a couple out-of-town people coming and providing food for food trucks. We decided to focus this year on trying to keep all of the food offerings local. So Moose's, the Smokehouse, the Bellino Helping, and He's Me Treatment will get involved in this. What else on the map do we need to touch on?
think the staff that we've already cleared it with the fire chief, and we just have to submit it now, because we wanted to clear it with him first.
So this is a park permit and event application that needs to be filled out. There is another process for, this is a department head application, so that every department head in the city knows exactly what you'll need. Street closures, electricity, restrooms, all that type of stuff. So that has to be filled out and approved by all department heads, not just the fire department, before the event is actually approved.
Okay. What else we going in here?
I think the important thing is in the back pocket, you will see all of our letters of support. So not only do we have a lot of letters of support from our local businesses and Main Street Live that we're working with on Main Street, because that's always the biggest one. If you look into our SWOT analysis, one of our biggest threats that we identified was downtown businesses hating street closures. If you guys remember, Belleville's did close during the Winterfest. They had a big sign on the door, they're very displeased, and we are working ahead of time with our local venues so that we don't have these problems again. So in the want of having them hating downtown events, we do have letters of support. We also have letters of support from Holiday Inn and also La Quinta and the Hilton. They are going to give us a letter of support verbally, and they said they will be getting that letter of support in physical copy to us, so we will hand that to you guys as soon as we have it in hand. So that is 3 of our major hotels agreeing that they want to see ArtFest. And then also we have a few of the Airbnb owners as well that have submitted letters of request saying that they want to see ArtFest funded. We have received monies from the previous tourism board 2 years in a row. You will see what we asked for and then what we received, and before our graphs about our funding. We've never actually received all of the money that we asked for, but we've always exceeded what the expectation with advertisements. If we want to go back onto our opportunities, strengths, and weaknesses, one of our weaknesses is that we do need to have more feet on the ground at our festival. We previously, our first year, has about 630 participants for our one-day festival. Our second festival, we had a little over 1,200 participants for our 2-day festival. Our goal this year is 3,000 participants. We literally do have people counting. That's how we know. It is a little bit boring, but I'm happy to sit there and do it all day. And then the other thing with it is that if you look at our comparing festival review, we have 2 pages in there. Trinidad Arts Fest is based off of what other communities in Colorado are doing that is successful. We didn't want to have the same problem where we needed a tremendous amount of funds every year to have a festival. We wanted to be able to stand on our own 2 feet a bit. To stand on our own 2 feet, we partnered with the Western Arts Federation our very first year, 2022. And we continued to partner with the Western Arts Federation in something called Zapplication, where they submit online applications, you have a journeying fee, then you have a booth fee, all that's handled through Zap. Zap does take a portion, and then we receive the monies after. If you look at things like Crested View and Silverthorne, and Pagoza, you'll see that a single booth fee is $450. Our single booth fee this year is $90. It was the previous year $85. How do these small communities able to charge so much for a booth? Not to mention you have that plus an application fee. Well, even Crested View, a single booth is $600. So basically they're able to get, through advertisement, through tourism, a lot of people in their community. A lot of people purchase a lot of art. It makes it financially worthy for our artists to spend so much on a booth. Trinidad is just not quite there yet with getting as much people in. although we have had a lot of success, for us to continue to grow, we do need to have more people into the community. And then if you look at the estimated total revenue, we know that West App always charges the $1,100 until you receive over 500 applicants. So that was easy to kind of flesh out. But you'll see that we would be able to have an income. And I know that a lot of troubles with that. We have also included city boards, including the Arts and Cultural Board. They will be our judges this year. So not only do we have a lot of community partners, we are looking to partner with the city as well, as much as we can. Our goal also with having a nice board with this wonderful subcommittee is that we can grow. We can get an executive director. We can do all of these things for continued support. We can have more music offerings. This festival could be really large. It could be like Cherry Creek, like, all of those other places. Canyon City has a great festival. When I did our comparative analysis for other ones, I tried to get other communities that were roughly our size, which is why I picked Silver Thorn and Crested Butte, because they're all a pinch bigger, but also it shows you what we can do. So we are excited for continued support of our festival. We've always been able to have a good event.
Any questions from the group? Jason, do you have any questions?
Did you get
I
the
do not.
email?
I might be missing it. Is there a specific total dollar request that you are looking for? I see you have the total 15 grand for
Yes.
your total budget. Is that what you're requesting in the board?
Correct.
The
15,000.
application is,
Okay.
The application is 15,000.
So I do
We
notice
also have that breakdown.
that is 3 times what you requested in the past 2 years. Is there a reason for that?
Yes, so in the past 2 years, we've only been able to request funding for advertisement. So that's what we did. We requested money for advertisement, and we continue to grow our advertisement every year. We were told by Steve that we can request things for, other things that would make this festival even greater. And so to really partner with our local restaurants to not have them be upset about having a festival downtown. Our goal, if you look at the festival map, is that each restaurant gets their own booth to be able to have people sit in front of their restaurant, be able to take, like, for instance, Teeth We Treat Me, people could order a sandwich, sit out in the festival grounds and eat it. And that would allow us to not bring in outside vendors, keep the people that are here to make money. We don't have the money in our budget right now to pay for or rent booths and chairs for them. So we do need money for that. We also need more money because we are not only are we partnering with Main Street Live, you'll also see that the Trinidad Youth Club has also written us a letter of support because we are trying to partner with our local schools and let some of the children exhibit in between our national artists, which will be a really great booster for them, and also the Trinidad State College. So we need monies for that. We also need monies since we are growing out of Sister Blandina Park. We need monies for porta potties and trash pickup. We've always had a really great relationship with Twin and Biro, and I know they have don't want to work with the city anymore, but they have agreed to continue to work with us because of our good business relationship we've had with them. Also, if you look at our previous years, our very first year we spent $1,500 on musical acts. The next year we doubled our budget, and we were slightly under budget thanks to JC. We spent, on our musical acts, we spent $2,600. So if you see last year, the whole festival cost us $15,500. Our budget is much larger. We have already spent a great deal of money on Zapplication, Sunshine Artist, multiple art show listing websites that we've already paid for to already have Trinidad Art Fest listed. You can go to artfair.com and you'll see us situated right behind Cherry Creek and right before Jackson Hole. So we've spent a lot already on advertising. We'd like to spend an extra $6,000 to really run the TV ads like we've done in previous years. I can show you our TV ad from last year. We've actually already paid for Jeff to create a TV ad. We had him shoot video footage of our festival last year, and he is in the process of creating TV ads. So if you guys do want to contribute to Trinidad Art Fest, we already have the city logo, because we have previously put the city logo for the tourism board logo on our TV ads. We want to expand our TV ads to Denver this year. Last year, our TV ads were just in Amarillo, Colorado Springs / Pueblo, and Albuquerque. And people really did see this. When I went to present to Art and Cultural Board, they were like, oh yeah, we saw that video. And I think with all the negative press that Trinidad's getting, it's really nice to have video ads showing how beautiful it is, how nice it is, and how there's such a nice community here. Really can help change that mindset. Also, so we want to, since we've already paid for a lot of our advertisement that we previously had the tourism board pay for, we want to expand that with the TV ads, with more Facebook ads. And then also, if we have more money for music, we can not only pay our local artists, but we can also bring in kind of a more fancier act from Denver, see if we can get more people out. You know, our locals do love seeing our local bands, but sometimes they get a little bored and want to see something different.
Have you guys submitted on the, we have a mechanism for advertising?
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Cool deal. So make sure.
Yeah, so they will handle all Facebook, Instagram, and other social media ads for.
And let's send
Trinidad
her
Art Fest.
back to our main email, and we have already sending her some of the stuff from previous years.
So then-
Curiosity question, this is an impressive package, who put it together?
I did.
Just curious, I kind of thought the way you do everything in there. Yeah, this
So
is,
that funding request that you submitted to DIQ for advertising also includes a campaign for KCRT. So when you, with that funding request, not funding request, that media request that you submitted, it includes KCRT as well as your social marketing. So that's all
We do
inclusive.
run our own social marketing as well off of our own Facebook and Instagram, and that is needed as well.
One thing we are, pretty much with all these requests coming in, obviously we have limited pool of funds to throw at things. I love the Art Fest. I think it's highly likely that we'll support you monetarily in some form or fashion, but part of the whole idea of having that, the professional firm on board is that we can take some of that off of your plate. So I realize you want to sponsor under your own account, but they can reshare your posts. They already have budget and people out there targeting the markets that you want to be targeted. So think of that as a reduction of your overall budget by using the resources we already have in place. Obviously we'll have to discuss internally, but realistically, I don't know if we're going to be able to get a full 15 to you. So I just want to put that out there ahead of time to kind of, it balances out in that we're able to, especially on the marketing advertising front, lean on the ad firm to help provide these services that you have budgeted. So.
I have one more question, Lee. So purchasing these tents for your schools and for the local restaurants, is there not an option, since it's for them, for each of them individually, for them to provide their own vendor booths and tents and tables and chairs?
We considered that, but at the same time, we are trying to combat the "we hate the street closure, nobody does anything to help us" mentality. And so by doing that, we wanted to offer something to them that not only will they be financially beneficial to be open, have people to be able to sit and use the restaurant like a outdoor dining, that we're going to do something for them.
And so
and then
after
so-
you purchase these, then they will belong to the Trinidad Art Fest?
So we will rent the ones for our, we will rent the ones for our local restaurants. We will purchase the ones for our local school because they're just cheapo 10 by 10s for schools and those sort of things.
Okay, we have pop-ups. We have 10 by 10 pop-ups that you can use.
Great. Well, we would love to be able to use
Yeah,
those.
we
for
can
the
use
schools,
those.
yeah. But we do need.
I was going to ask if the city had some stuff.
Yeah, we do.
We also need to have weights for them. There's.
Well, that's a cinder block or a bucket of sand, or
Yeah.
a bucket of water even.
Mhm.
Yeah, we can
So-
forgo that. So we do have, I don't know how many you'll need. I think I
We're
have
working
probably
on it.
10.
Primero has, I don't know if Primero's going to do 2 booths, one for their younger kids and one for their older kids, or they're going to do just 1 booth on Trinidad State. So we're still working out how many children's booths, and that's super exciting to have our youth exhibiting with national artists.
Okay, let me know how many you need, and we'll make sure we have an inventory for you that'll cover that.
Any other questions?
Trash pickup. So have you, since you already communicated with the fire department, have you communicated with the city on trash pickup?
So we, like I said, we have always had a really working relationship with Trinidad.
Right,
So we were going to get some trash cans for them specifically, some larger ones, because I did notice at the RAD that some of the trash cans got full really fast.
Right.
And especially if we're having people eat on the streets, we need to be able to have a very large trash can. We need to have pickup on Saturday night and on Sunday after the festival.
Okay, so Saturday and Sunday? And if I can arrange that somehow with the city, is that an option?
Yeah, we could do that, but then we'll still have to pay Trinidad for the porta potties as well.
Right.
And then maybe even Friday night, because we will need to close the street at 11 a.m., which is part of what we'll do when we do our street closure packet for setup.
On Saturday?
On Friday.
On Friday? So the streets would have to be closed at 6 a.m. in the morning. It's just too hard to get in there and get all vehicles that are already parked to move their vehicles. So you'd have to identify who owns the vehicles and then track them down and then have them move the car. So typically, and that's part of that application that I gave you, JC?
Yep.
Is what time the streets need to be closed, and they are closed at 6 a.m. on that morning when you need to start your setup.
Perfect. So that will work. That's not a big problem at all. We are working on how we're going to our volunteer group to set up and everything. So that's not a trouble. We were just thinking 11 a.m. would be the latest that we would need it done.
Right.
So earlier is fine. Earlier is not going to harm
Yeah.
our plan at all.
So
Actually, even better.
fill out that application. I will send that to department heads so that they know all your street closures, where your trash cans will be located, or where you want them located, trash pickup on these particular days and how often, so that the trash is monitored so it's not overflowing during the day. And sometimes it's a matter of maybe getting some of your volunteers to bag it. What we did for RadFest was we located a large, what's it called, roll-off. And then we had volunteers that were going and emptying those cans. We put a roll of trash bags in the bottom, they dump them and put in a new trash can. And that'll save you some cost as well.
Great. That's a great idea.
Any other questions, Jason? You got anything?
I'll just say that this is a masterclass on what funding requests should look like. Yeah, you guys nailed it. So this is the kind of stuff that I want to see. You know, it's the kind of event that'll draw people in. You're targeting outside markets. You're getting local businesses involved. There'll be hotel stays involved, and this is the kind of event that actually drives revenue. So good job, everyone.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I agree.
Any other questions or comments for these guys? No? Thank you so much for coming in. We will definitely be looking this over, and we will be back on the agenda for next week's time to discuss further. Let's see.
Cool, thank you for your time.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you guys. Great stuff.
Any requests for Trinidad Art Fest?
This is not on your agenda.
Right. So, Carlos, we got this. We will put you guys on the next agenda. That's okay.
Yeah, I just was hoping that we could just drop this off under your miscellaneous portion. We were originally under the impression that monies weren't available, and then once we found out about it, we just wanted to get something to you right away, so that way we could be on an agenda in the future. But again, I know how things can take some time, but at least having something in a physical hard copy in front of you. Again, this is for the Trout Unlimited Purgatory River Anglers chapter.
It's already a step. Yeah.
So just like last year when we did the International Fly Fishing Film Series, We're going to be presenting it again. It's all for a fundraiser for the Trout Unlimited chapter that we have here, which is a nonprofit which works in conjunction with CPW, Purgatory Watershed Partnership, City, and then there's also
School districts,
conservation groups, etc., which is another promotion of our river health, which is also being discussed currently with the city with the Greenway project.
Greenway Foundation.
Greenway Foundation.
The river project.
So all of these things are just factors that work in cooperation with what is trying to be done, and this is what helps get positive energy to get people enthralled about taking care of the river and just pursuing ways to find a good balance between recreation and maintenance and environmental consciousness, I guess is a good way of thinking.
Good word.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to make you guys come back, but if you want to talk about it more next meeting, we'll have you on the agenda and we can go through your presentation.
That's perfectly
One
fine.
other thing, I'll just make a
But for the
quick
sake of
comment
the meeting,
here is the river now is becoming a focal point for folks that are coming to the area. And we've got folks at Denver, Colorado Springs, Pueblo, Santa Fe, Amarillo. So this is becoming that 3-hour point that people come here and spend 2 or 3 days instead of spending a lot of time and money going to someplace else and waiting to get on a trailhead. So it's not only helps TU, but it's also a very strong representation of Trinidad and what Trinidad's done to become that cool town we all know it can be. So it's something that it's very worthwhile, and it's 14 years in the making. So
Yeah.
keep it going.
I recently went to the Breckenridge.
I'm having to call order, I'm sorry, guys.
Okay.
You guys have to
Okay.
call order, you have to
All right,
come back
next
next time.
All right, no problem.
Sorry.
No problem.
We gotta move along.
No problem.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate what y'all are working on.
Definitely be on the next agenda.
Thank you.
One quick thing though, it's not quite as fancy as Art Fest, but it's pretty
Right,
darn
right,
good.
but hey, it came in a nice folder, I'm
I
impressed.
think he could probably get her to do, or did she do this?
Well, yeah, they too. We're kind of like the pikers in this deal.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is recreational facilities and programming. I think that's another.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this basically fits in with what we were already kind of talking about on the reserve fund balance and usage, and just discussing like recreational facilities. I will just reiterate the things that came from the Parks and Rec Board. Once again, I'm not sure the best process in terms of how to start any wheels turning on this front, but Parks and Rec identified playground equipment and/or a development of a pocket park at Pine and Willow Street. The wormhole project I've already mentioned. Bear-proof trash cans, I would assume that is all around downtown. Wayfinding signage, and then the big one would be a soccer program. So that would need an employee and equipment. I think it might be late in the game to get that off the ground for this year, but we could start looking ahead to next year's programming for that.
Did you say an employee and equipment?
Yeah, it would be like a contract, like a 6-month contract to administrate the program.
Would that be like a local coach or something?
Yeah, I'm not totally sure, but someone who's point to actually run the whole deal. Presumably, some level of funding would be required to like pay referees and stuff as well. So
There used to be an
Where would
ASO.
that come from? That we have a separate line item for that, right?
well, this is programming,
Parks.
recreational.
Recreational programs.
That's okay.
But it's not coming out. Okay. There's so many, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's all good. So yeah, that's what I got from the Parks and Rec Board in terms of where they would want to look this year. Steve mentioned 50K towards trails at the new parcel. Don't know if that's realistic for this year or not. I also have questions for him on that front in terms of like, I don't think you can actually get those trails built for 50K. Probably designed, but I don't think you get shovels in the ground for that cheap. So that would leave us, I think, 100 grand left in this.
It was 150 for recreational?
I believe
I think
so.
you're right.
Have we done anything with that yet? Like previous board or anything this year? Nothing yet?
So yeah, that's facilities and programming. So it's a decent amount. It'll go fast once we zone in on a couple of those things. one item we could do, I don't know who's in charge of like procurement on the city side. I do see playground equipment come up all the time online. I think that would be a slam dunk win for us to just be able to point at like, hey, you finally got that new slide installed. It came out of the lodging fund.
So can we just do this on our own, or do we need them to request funding?
That's what I was wondering, is I don't know who does procurement, but like approach them, say, can you get us a quote on getting this stuff installed?
Like we had an RFP, right?
Purchased.
Depending on the amount, so anything over $1,000 has to have 3 bids. But there has to be a process that's followed, and I'm not sure what that process is because this is a new bucket of money. So I don't even know how that works.
Yeah.
So maybe I can put on the next agenda an update on processes for funding
Parks
Parks
and
and Rec.
Mhm.
Because I wouldn't mind us, I mean, if that's something that we can do,
Yeah, just start grabbing bids.
put out an RFP for
providers.
playground equipment.
Yeah, and I
I
mean,
think that's important to the community.
I think that would be a great one to focus on first, being as both the trail projects probably a little bit further out.
And a lot more expensive, I would say, probably.
Yeah, but it's common to work that in phases. So you could be like contract out the first couple of miles, get them done, then people can start using it, and you build on from there. That's what they're doing with Fisher's Peak at the moment. So, like, start with just getting them planned, and then maybe we can get bids for building. What else did I say on that list? Yeah, soccer program, I feel like we need some third-party input. I don't want to run that out of our board. And then, like the bear-proof trash cans and wayfinding, I do think we should keep pushing on the wayfinding stuff as well. So this would be a good capital expense under this funding, would be the wayfinding signage.
Have we decided whether we want to try to use the signs we have, or if we want to purchase some signs? I know we'll need probably some additional signage to what's in storage. Is the storage signage up to date? What's changed?
Yeah, it's just that it's not, it doesn't have the reflective surface on it, is why they were put away.
Okay. Is there
But there's nothing wrong with the signs.
do we have a way to get the reflective stuff put on it?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I mean, I did some Gorilla Glue and something.
Paint it with some glitter glue. I'm sorry,
There's a
Jason.
spray, it'll take like 1 minute. It'll work up to it.
Cool. I mean, I would literally get all the signs in here at a board meeting and spray them.
Right?
Like,
Well, maybe not in here. Maybe in the back.
I'm just saying, let's get this done. Like, that's wild.
Yeah, this is important. It's really low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
It's right there, yeah. It's something we have.
I'm assuming that we don't really. I'm assuming we don't really have city resources to install this stuff either. I mean, I know that those people exist, but I think part of the reason that this has dragged on so long is that they're busy with other projects.
It's just not priority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So potentially we would be contracting this as well then to a construction company to get them installed. So we just worth keeping in mind in terms of the total dollar amount, or if we need to get bids on it.
So let's find out next time what the process will be, and then we can start the process for a couple of these projects that we'd like to see finished. Signage and the
Playground.
playground. Y'all, I'm sorry, trying to make my losses. Anything else for the recreational facilities and programming? Chris, you got anything?
No, I agree with Joe on some of those key points. And getting a more active Parks and Rec department that can be consistent will help when we start planning some of that.
All right. The last one we've already discussed. Miscellaneous from board members. Anybody have anything? Jason, you got something?
No, really.
Nothing really, just to put it on everyone's radar as we're thinking about festivals and stuff. I know we've been talking about a music festival. I was talking to Kurt from the Lounge. They are actively planning to launch a citywide music fest next summer. So not this year. Could still be a void there this year, but I would say let's not put too much energy into that. We could focus on maybe Santa Fe Trail Days or something instead in terms of a city administered event. I think Kurt and Suzanne are going to knock that out of the park. I do think we should support them when that bridge is ready to be crossed. But that'll be at local venues, no street closures, like get a wristband type of thing. And they want to really make it a big deal and even beyond a regional draw. So just something I heard through the grapevine, and so just putting it out there for folks to know about it.
Cool. Chris, you got anything?
Yeah, I had a question, and I just may have heard it wrong, but I had asked about the radio contract, and you said that it had been extended through 25.
No, that will be when that expires, or before that expires, we will have that on the agenda to approve for next week.
But I specifically said, has it been done through 25?
No,
And
it's an annual from June to
Right.
July of each year. So it has to be re-signed. The contract expires the end of June.
right,
Right,
but
We haven't.
we haven't done it yet.
No.
Do you hear the same thing?
I think that was probably a mishearing at the time.
Okay.
Because you
So what
did
I
say
said.
25, but I don't think she caught that when you asked her about
no,
it.
I'm sorry.
Are we
Apologize.
planning to renew it?
But
It
After
will come
my
up to the
renewal-
board.
Yeah.
It will be before the board
okay,
to renew the contract. We will have Destination IQ involved in that, whether or not they advise us to renew that contract. That's how all our
Yeah, well,
advertising and marketing goes.
I will say something now. They are not schooled in radio. I know I mentioned last week, and you kind of jumped on me, that it was poorly written copy. It doesn't flow. I have to adjust it. It's too long. It's to read it even fast is a minute 20 to 30 seconds. It's just, and I say this
So let's,
not to brag. I have more years of experience in radio than some people on this board have been around, and I do know there are ways to use radio. We didn't used to have this wonderful digital stuff that I am incredibly fascinated with, because getting the data and the stuff we have. But radio is still a factor. Television is too, when you're in the right market. This is not a market to do that, but it is still good to use. It is still a viable venue for advertising, and it is also a really good one if you write good copy and you have placement of your spots and when they run, and in the right places. It's a valuable tool, but it's got to flow. It's got to have different things. Joe had suggested about getting testimonials from people and stuff. That would take some time, but that's a good thing to do. But it's got to be. It can't just be a grocery list thrown together for a job to read. And the last two I got, I did adjust them using the same information. But this radio we have locally, it's not super tourism advantaged. It is somewhat, because people will come through town, see people will tune to it. It is a major tool for educating the locals, Southern Colorado people that listen, to what we're doing. And when we get into some of the more impressive, that buying a slide, the things that we can do that will improve the quality of life, and we can slowly and subtly start educating the community that we need that extra money in November for motel. Instead of people, that are kind of in the knowledge of things going on here, coming up and saying, well, I want to spend it on tourism. I didn't go for it because I don't want to spend it on quality of life and stuff. I said, but quality of life is what also draws tourism. If you've got the things going on, you've got an improved river, walk, you've got improved wormhole. Still have to go check that out. I haven't seen that yet, but the trails, the fishing, the things that we're doing, and you educate the locals on that as we go along, and you can do it subtly. Say your lodging tax advisory board is proud, that these things are going on, and then you get a little bit more specific when you get closer to November. Getting people to, before we get beyond when we can't say anything about it, get them thinking about it ahead of time. There's a lot that could be done with radio. I do know from a conversation I had that, before you told me I couldn't talk to them, with Lindsay and Christy, that they're not big on radio. They're not really super, interested in doing anything. The folks with Cumulus contacted them, and all they got back was a one-line thing. We're not interested in renewing, any schedules with you for Trinidad. Well,
Okay.
they didn't. There wasn't that was a one-time thing. There wasn't anything to renew, and it was kind of a weird thing. The station was kind of shocked. Well, we haven't even proposed anything, and they're already rejecting it. It's just obvious that they don't have the expertise in radio that they would need to really do it effectively.
Okay.
And
All right, so let me speak to a couple of things. First of all, when I didn't say you couldn't talk to them. Lindsay is at every meeting, and you have an opportunity to vent or to express your concerns to Lindsay at every meeting. So at the next meeting, when if there's anything that you need to say about radio, that would be your opportunity. I didn't say you couldn't communicate with them. What I said was they have identified points of contact. So I am the point of contact for the Lodging Tax Board to communicate with them. Lindsay is the point of contact on the DIQ side.
Don't forget, we could be getting billed anytime any of us speak to them at all. So I think the most important thing there is just to be mindful of their time. That's why we have Lindsay drop off the call now.
right.
Just so they can focus their efforts.
So my recommendation is, so why don't you write down all your concerns? The next meeting that I have with Lindsay, I will share all those concerns. And then your suggestion to maybe focus on educating, and self-promotion, on letting people know what exactly the Lodging Tax Advisory Board does, or how our lodging tax dollars are spent, or something along those lines, so we can work up to that ballot question that's coming.
So that was going to be, I was going to ask the group, should we put that on the agenda to discuss maybe
A campaign.
a recalculation of what we're doing on the radio station? Because what he says, education and self-promotion for the board, to really let people know this is what we want to do with the money. These are the things that we want to do to benefit Trinidad. Hopefully bring them around to where they understand that we are not just a marketing board anymore. We're a lot of different things. And then that wouldn't really be something that Lindsay and them would be, they could write stuff, but it's self-promotion and education. That'd be a lot easier to write than a list of all the events that are going. Of course, we'll mention events and such like that too. I'm okay with what's been. She writes the draft and then Chris edited. I'm okay with that, just because they have said they don't have a lot of radio experience, and he does. So I'm okay with that continuing if you are. Like you get the copy from Lindsay and you just make it flow like it's supposed to. That would be great. I know it's not going to be a permanent solution. As far as the renewal of the radio I feel is the heart of this community, and there are many good reasons to continue with that contract. And I think with this group, maybe, yeah, there's a definite benefits of having a radio contract for this group. And I don't think that even if they don't understand, Destination IQ doesn't understand what it is or why, I don't think they'll stop us from renewing.
No, I would hope not. Partially, the reason that I haven't brought it up is I wanted to wait till I got a second set of copies, which I got from you now. Those are written for 2 months worth of stuff, and I would have to, and they haven't been instructed by them, you have to update. Because when you run, you know, like the first one, when we got through the St. Patrick's Day parade, you couldn't talk about that anymore. Well, the way they've been sending you the copy, it doesn't request or instruct or anything about an update. So they're not, you know, and this is just my gut feeling of them. They're not really, that's not their bailiwick, and they don't really pay attention. Whoever is writing the copy for them, I would be surprised if they have any formal writing. I mean, I have a degree in broadcast advertising. I took 2 semesters of the theater of the mind, creative writing for radio. There are ways to do it and write it and do things. And a lot of it too is not just a voice, it's delivery. So I think a little bit more interest that we could take in it. And I would even propose, if there's not that much money involved for them, if they don't even deal with the radio.
Okay.
Let us, you know, I would propose, and I was really gonna wait till,
I was gonna say, what's the
So-
outcome you're looking for?
what's the
What
outcome?
would be the ideal outcome for you?
For us to manage that. And as long as I'm on the board, you know, I'd be happy to take care of it. Board's approval on, you know, anything that we write and say and we do. You know, obviously yours, this has to be legal with the city. If I go off the board, unless I'm dead, I'd continue to help with it. At that point, we might have to look at something else. But even if you leave radio just up to the radio station, you know, like we used to, and let them just kind of put in there and do what they're doing, they don't, you're dealing with a salesman who just wants to make money. I love Rick, he's a great guy, but having worked in radio as long as I have, there are salesmen and then there are creative people, you know, and a lot of your jocks are creative and they can do some stuff, but not without incentive. So
Right.
anyway, that's kind of my pitch on that. I was going to wait till the retreat we had to really get into that, but go ahead and let them. I would just soon not say anything until if this board wants to do that, then we say something to Lindsay. I didn't want to hurt his feelings either. Somebody may be writing copy they think is wonderful.
Oh, I guarantee, are constantly going through critique processes of their own. Creatives can handle it, and if they can't, they should get out of the business.
Agreed.
But I just want to let you know, I hear you. If we're gonna throw this on future agenda discussion, let's get deeper into it then. Just because we're approaching 2-hour mark here, and
I even, you know, proved to, I think I did to Joe that 60 seconds are better than 30s anyway, because of the studies, universities that have done them. But I think that was a surprise.
I just
to
have
me.
one little short update on
Okay.
Picket Wire Media, if I could.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jeff is writing the script for the videos. We've identified some landmarks, the locations, the tourism destinations for the video content. So that's done. The end agreement was 50 photos in multiple sizes and aspects, a 2 to 3 minute video highlighting Trinidad with its unique offerings and destinations, and a 2 to 3 video broken down into 10 shorts we can use for our social media. And that Jeff will provide a B-roll to DIQ so that we can put in our asset folder, our library. He was going to start the beginning of March, but he recommended waiting for the community to kind of spring up a little bit.
Yeah. Totally
But
got it.
I met with him and I said, you know, we could probably get some indoor shots at some restaurants, at some museums, at some indoor locations that we don't have to worry about the landscape. So he went ahead and he started those. So we identified some indoor locations, and then he will start his outdoor shots probably pretty quick now that we got flowers on the trees. So, quick.
I have a curiosity question. Wonder if there would be any advantage or positive results in showing pictures of like some of the motels and the Airbnbs and stuff, and some of that too. Like, when you come to, we got great places to stay. And is that something?
Probably not a good idea to start promoting individual businesses.
Right.
Because then we're leaving other businesses out because we can't cover them all. And then it would be perceived as favoritism. So it's a really hard thing to start promoting individual businesses. Even an individual Airbnb for that matter. It's like we have a lot of them.
Well, my favorite place to stay when I first started coming here was Trails Inn, because you could smoke weed. They said you can't smoke cigarettes, but you can smoke weed. I thought, okay, I like this place. Not that I did.
Yeah.
I gotta get ready for it 2 o'clock, so sorry.
Discussion of agenda, so the next agenda I have is ADA compliance and facelift is on there. Funding request for the International Fly Fishing Film Festival, and an update on the funding request process for Parks and Rec. Anything else?
Update on the reserve fund transfer
Yes.
into local events.
Yes.
Trinidad Art Fest
Oh, yeah.
funding request and vote, so we can decide on that. Otherwise I have the same things, just worded.
And I'll probably update you sooner than later before the next meeting on the funding so that we know what we're gonna do with the request for TAF. Or,
Yeah.
so we know how much money you have.
I don't assume you have all that in the notes.
Got it.
Yes, you're the best.
Just worded a little different, but you'll know what they are. I would motion to adjourn.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
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 All right, thanks.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, Jason.